Soak it all in.
My thing is, I tell Masons, there is a certain man that has a certain tool bag, and he has many different types of tools within that bag that he can use at any type of time. And you can also say that those are like front organizations. Masonry is nothing but a front organization, or is nothing but a tool for the man that actually is using it, to construct what he's, constructing. I don't believe Masonry runs the world. I'm not going to say Masons control everything. Do Masons have their hand in everything? Yes. But do they control everything? No. There's someone else that controls everything. And I've told you who controls everything. We had this conversation. I said the Jesuits. And I can even show you that the Jesuits have the same rituals as Masons. So it's like I said, I don't try to lump all Masons into one category. But if we're speaking on technicality, the Jesuits run Masonry and the Jesuits run the world. I can show you people like Denzel Washington and many other people who have trainers. They have trainers or they have PRs, or personal handlers. I mean, personal handlers. Their personal handlers are usually Jesuits. And this is a known information. Like, you can literally look this up and look up famous Jesuits who've worked with celebrities. There's going to be a lot of famous people. So I'm like I said, this is creditable information. It's not like I'm saying something that just is hearsay.
No, you're very right. I mean, the 30th degree of Scottish Rite, it is said that it was kind of like a response for the Jesuits in the 18th century. And so there were basically these rituals and groups of people which were affiliated with the Masons were definitely being persecuted by the Jesuits, and a whole bunch of chaos within Europe happening between these two different groups. And after developing the French Rite, which consists of orders, you have the Fifth Order, which nobody talked about the Fifth Order being a night Kadosh ritual that we recognize today as being part of the 30th degree of the Scottish Rite. And within this degree, it talks about some type of contention against the organized religion, and particularly the Catholic institution. And you can see these traditions being handed down in late 18th century to have some type of animosity against the Jesuits and so forth. But it's more symbolical than it is historical, and these degrees come from systems. That's the thing, is that modern Masons believe that these rituals are just fabricated, I don't know, by people who just invented them out of nowhere and had a great, I don't know, they just, some type of vision of morality and virtue. But no, these rituals were they were scattered throughout Europe. One came after the other. They influenced each other. They were part of different systems before becoming part of Scottish Rite, before being part of the York Rite. It was part of different systems that little by little kept infiltrating the organized Masonry that we know of today. I'll give you an example. The 27th degree of, I think it's the 28th degree here, or the 27th degree of Scottish Rite in Southern jurisdiction here in America. It's called the Knight of the Sun, or Knight of the Adept. And this degree was created by, there's a legend. I don't go for the legend. I go for what we know evidently came from this guy named, I forgot his name, but he was basically the founder of the Illuminati of Avignon. So this is not the Illuminati, the German,
Of Bavaria.
the Bavaria. This is the Illuminati of Avignon.
I know what group you're talking about. You said Avignon?
Yeah.
I heard about. I got them in a book called Occultocracy, but I didn't get the chance to read upon them. I'm gonna look into them. What were you saying about them?
So I'm pretty much describing how these rituals come from different systems of the 18th century. And the 28th degree, the Knight of the Sun, which is part of the Scottish Rite today, one of the most important degrees of the Scottish Rite, it comes down. It was handed down from. It was created in 1750s by this guy. I forgot this guy's name, but he was part of the. He was the guy that created the Hermetic Rite, or what they call the Illuminati of Avignon, who were later persecuted by the French the French, basically the royals, and and basically this degree was adopted by the French institutions, Masonic institutions, and then later it infiltrated legitimate Freemasonry. And Freemasonry had to adopt this ritual and basically modified it to fit the traditions of the Masons, and it became what we know of today as the Scottish Rite. It used to be, I think, the 23rd degree of the Royal Secret system. But anyway, this is stuff that historians know about, but they don't really discuss it within Masons because it's not something that Masons really particularly are interested in. But if people that hear the conspiracies, they start saying, "Oh, the 27th degree comes from the Illuminati, right?" Masons will freak out, and you'll see that you're a conspiracy theorist, but it's true. The 27th degree of the Scottish Rite comes from a system that was called the Illuminati of Avignon. It was a Hermetic Rite of, I believe, 7 degrees, which was including the craft degrees of Freemasonry. And so Freemasonry was a lot more extensive in the 18th century, and it just slowly became more centralized because the whole goal was to create a system of a high degree system of Masonry that can tell the whole complete story of the craft of the 3 degrees of the Master Mason degree.
Now, what you saying? I'm talking about the Illuminati, but you do know that those societies of Illuminati were all subjugated or subject to one order, correct? Like, of course, it's different lodges, but they still have the same agenda and purpose that Adam Weishaupt set off for, right?
Yeah, but it's an order that died off. There were different orders that flourished, and then they died off, and then they flourished again and died off. Now, I can tell you that a lot of the brothers that were part of the Illuminati, the Barbarian Illuminati, I can tell you that a lot of them just simply left the order and then got involved with legitimate Freemasonry. As simple as that.
But you do know that Adam Weishaupt, he was a Jesuit, and a lot of people say that he wasn't a Jesuit, but there is no such thing as leaving the Jesuits, and that's in their oath. In their oath, they say that we will act as an enemy of our own organization. So they're, like I said, when you're a Jesuit, you're always a Jesuit forever. And Adam Weishaupt,
What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing?
by the Jesuits.
How's it going, brother?
Hey, quick question. Javon, are you a Mason?
Yeah, I'm a Freemason.
Where you hail from?
Nevada and Baja California.
Say what?
The Grand Lodge of Nevada and also the Grand Lodge of Baja California.
What lodge you hail from?
Like, you want the actual lodge?
I do.
A couple. One is called Nellis. The other one's Robert Burns.
Okay. I asked you that question because I'm listening to you sit up and speak on degrees, and it's kind of hard to believe that you're a Mason and you're speaking on degrees, especially of the Southern jurisdiction. Also, you can be a Christian and a Freemason. Conspiracy theories, conspiracy, true. I have a question for you, and I'm not being racist. Are you a black man or a white man?
I'm black. I'm Native American, and I'm black.
Well, same thing. This is why I asked you that, because you say you can't be a Christian and a Mason. Did you know that the church, or you can say Native American or the Black Church, was actually started and formed by Black Freemasons?
Yes, I do. And also know that W.E.B. Du Bois and many of those other different brothers were Boule members, which technically is still Freemasonry.
So did you know that 90% of all preachers, pastors, and bishops of America from the beginning of Christianity forming here, all of those guys were Freemasons as well?
Yes, sir, I do. And there's a reason behind that.
Why would you? So what makes you believe that you can't be a Christian and a Freemason?
Because those, and this is all due respect.
You're gonna have to. I'm sorry. Let me turn my radio down. At work.
Was that one of y'all?
Nah, that's my radio. I just turned it down. I
Oh,
apologize. I'm at work. Man, go ahead.
but no, no, yeah. With all due respect to those men who are Freemasons and pastors, like I don't know if you know who John G. Jones is, but I had to tell him to his face as well. You are a wolf in sheep clothing. That's
The
what Jesus
thing,
would
the
have
thing
described.
about that guy John G. Jones, and I don't mean to interrupt you. So I see a lot of things that you're posting, and I understand that you're trying to educate. But some of the education you're giving, it comes from bogus Freemasons like John G. Jones. John G. Jones is not a legit Mason. He's a perpetrator. And there are a bunch of bogus lodges out there. So a lot of the conspiracy theories that you hear, they come from a lot of those bogus organizations. Those are not legit Freemasons. Martin Free, John G. Jones, all of those are not legit Freemason lodges
Yeah,
at all.
I don't really get into that because I'm not a Mason, so I can't really speak on that. What I'm saying is, whether you a clandy dandy or you a legit Mason, if you are a Christian and you are a pastor and you're a Mason on that pulpit, you are a wolf in sheep clothing. That's how Jesus would have described them. There's no other way there could have been. The Pharisees practiced the ancient pagan mysteries. They practiced the Talmud, the Zohar, the Sepharad, and all those other different books. That's why Jesus called them a wolf in sheep clothing, because they were never really practicing just the Torah. They were practicing every other thing under the sun. Because when they went into Babylon, they picked up traits from the Chaldeans and the Phoenicians and all those other different organizations. Not organizations, but empires, I mean.
Yeah, like influences.
Yeah, so my thing is, I've already talked to many Freemasons, and the information that I've shown, they've already confirmed to. Like a Royal Arch Mason, he already confirmed that he took the penalty that I read off to him. So, like, the information I'm showing, it's not coming from a clanny dandy.
But
If the
what
clanny
are you
dandies
trying to
are
get at,
doing
though?
it, that's what they're
What is
doing.
the point?
What is the point of me showing this information?
No. To Chad Black, what's the point? I don't get the questions.
My reason for saying what I said is because, again, a lot of the conspiracy theories that people have researched and came up with that you see on the internet has been the reputation of those bogus lodges that doesn't represent legit Freemasonry. And Mr. Javon, for you to ask me a question like that and say that you are a Mason, it's kind of hard to believe that you really are.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have to prove anybody that I'm a Mason. I'm just letting you know where I hail from.
And saying what you just said, again, kind of make me believe that you're not.
Again, it's not
DMC,
something
you
that I
can
really
always
care to
come up.
prove it. What I'm trying to tell you is you asked a question or you're making a statement more rather, and I'm trying to understand where you're getting this from. Because we were discussing about the Jesuits and particularly a specific degree of Scottish Rite, the 30th degree. Are you Scottish Rite? Are you a member of Scottish Rite?
Ma'am, I am a 32nd degree.
So I'm pretty sure that
That's why I would
32nd.
not discuss my degrees with you nor him. I can only explain certain things to the
Of
both of
course,
you.
you're not going to
Yeah.
divulge the obligations, the symbols, the signs, the age. You're not going to divulge any of the mysteries that are written down in Masonry, but you can definitely touch upon the details that you philosophical points of view. So that's why we're discussing here.
And then also, Chad, are you familiar with the symbol that he's doing? Mason's already confirmed that they did it. So if you say yes or no, it's not going to change my answer or my idea. But are you familiar with this symbol?
I'd have seen it. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Do you know that it's the hidden hand, correct?
I'm listening.
Okay, well, let me show you a few pictures of some people doing this hidden hand. And I'm not going to show no small fish. I'm going to just show all big fish. Because I don't... let me just show you. All right, we got Nathan Rothschild. I mean, the name should speak for itself. But he's not the only one that's been doing this handshake. Then also we can go to Flavor Boy right here, Mr. Robert. Now you may say that that's just coincidence, but okay.
You know, R. Kelly's not a Mason, bro. That was just a pose that them folks was pulling. I can't speak on him But those what you're speaking on, most of those are poses, man. Before
Okay.
I became a Mason, that's a pose that I used to do. And if you was
Well,
born around that time, then you understand a lot of those are just poses.
so he doing the same exact one as just coincidence. That's pretty much coincidence. You saying it's a
That's a
coincidence.
coincidence.
This is another coincidence too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let me show Prince Philip then. That's a coincidence.
Yeah. That's Prince Phil. It's a coincidence.
That's a coincidence. I guess lightning hit strike 7 times in the first in one place there, huh?
Yeah. But lightning strike you 7 times, that ain't a coincidence. That God want you.
Well, I think God warning you right now because I just showed you more than 5 people. And I could continue
But
showing more than people.
if you don't, so you don't believe in coincidences?
Heck, I would be a fool.
Okay. I can't make you believe in coincidence. I can't make you believe in it. But I can. You ask me a question,
So
I'm making a
is it a
statement. Then
coincidence
yeah.
that the Pope is doing the same one too? Then
Yes, the Pope is not a Mason. If you got to go back and read the
okay,
history.
look, I'm happy you. If you're going to talk about those papal bulls, I'm going to tell you this: the Catholic Church is the biggest hypocrite of all time. Of all
The
time,
Catholic
it is
Church
number one.
unalive. The Catholic Church unalive a lot of
Yeah,
Freemasons, bro.
and what I'm telling you is that that's what a lot of front organizations. When the kingpin wants to not take credibility for his work, he will unalive his own group just to make his name safe. So you saying that is not going to change what I'm telling you. I've already said that the Jesuits control Freemasonry. I've already shown how the Jesuits control Freemasonry. Let's read this real quick, sir. There is a considerable analogy between Masonic and Jesuitic degrees, and the Jesuits also tread down the shoe and bear the knee, because Ignatius Loyola thus presented himself at Rome and asked for the confirmation of the order. The way that you present yourself, that the way he's presented, is the same way you presented yourself in front of whoever you did it to, in the same way Ignatius did to the Pope, because you guys have similarities. There is so many analogies and similarities between you guys. It's ridiculous because they're the one who controls your organization. And
No,
I've
it's not.
already,
But
and I've asked,
so
and I've
they're
asked.
not the ones who control the organization. The thing, okay. So the thing about the organization, every Grand Lodge is sovereign, which means we don't answer to nobody, dog. I'm just being honest with you. You ask me a question, and I'm being as honest as I can with you. I'm not here to try to debunk or debate with you. I'm being straight up 100 with you. Nobody controls us.
Okay, I'm happy you said that. Javon, do you know who Helena Petrov Blavatsky is?
Vasquez, yeah, of course.
Okay, so this is what she wrote in her book. And by the way, she was a part of the Grand Orient Lodge. She was a female Freemason. And if you say that females can't be Freemasons, I've already discussed with Freemasons in
You
Europe.
communicate a lot with Albert Pike.
Well,
Wrote letters
females
together.
females cannot be Freemasons, but
Hello, Miss
there are.
Karen.
Let me finish. There is female free so-called Freemasons in England. They are not recognized by any legitimate lodge or grand lodge because females are not allowed to be Freemasons. They can become Eastern Stars.
Yeah, but they are respected by the that they exist. They acknowledge
I
that they
didn't say
exist.
they was. I didn't say they wasn't respected. I said they're not recognized at all.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, this is what she talked about. And this is from another source. By the way, I already said in Morals and Dogma that Albert Pike said that your organization was infiltrated by the Jesuits. So one source already said that. This is another source, by the way. Like I said, this is Helena Petrova Blavatsky. She says this. It is curious to note, too, that most of the bodies which work these, such as the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite, the Rite of Avignon, which Javon just talked about, the Order of the Temple, Fessler's Rite, the Grand Council of the Emperors of the East and West, Sovereign Prince Masons, etc., are nearly all the offspring of the sons of Ignatius Loyola. So even to other occultists, by the way, Javon already knows that she is an advanced occultist. So let me not just say occultist. She's an advanced occultist. People go to her to get the work done. She don't go to nobody. So this high advanced occultist has already demonstrated that the organization that is of a Catholic order controls And then she says this: who founded the grades in these rites worked under instructions from the who founded the grades in these rites worked under instructions from the
Now,
general of the Jesuits. So, like I
conspiracy, I
said,
want
it's
to add
already
one
a
thing,
known.
though. I want to add. She's talking about ancient masonry when the emperors of the East and West, and the Avignon, the Rite of Avignon, which is recognized as the Hermetic Rite. These are all offsprings of what used to be believed. Even Albert Pike talked about this. It used to be believed that were infiltrated by the Jesuits. Now she puts it more like they were, worked under the instruction, as if it was some type of order mandating the rites. But these different rites basically had infiltration of the Jesuits. Now there was another secret. I don't know how to call it, order. Yeah, there was an order called the Knights Kadosh, which had to change their name to the Knights of Eagle of Black and White to conceal the order from the Jesuits in the mid 1700s. When the Scottish Rite came about, they basically brought back the mysteries into the Freemasonic Rite, but it was completely anti. There was contentions between organized religion, and so this rite was the response of the Jesuits' control of the rites in Europe, particularly in France. And I'm sorry, not France. Yeah, it was France. And so
I'm
you're talking about ancient masonry, bro. Today, masonry, it's its own sovereign body. It has its history. It has its ups and it has its downs. It has its history within politics, and today none of that exists.
Okay, but Javon, what I'm trying to explain to you and to Chad is that you don't understand the Jesuit order. I said, Javon, I said that you can go on the Library of Congress and look up the Jesuit oath. It's going to tell you. They say themselves, we will take down any kingdom, any organization, anybody that stands in their way, Protestant or non-Protestant. If you stand in their way, they will hang, boil, waste, flay, strangle alive anybody who stands in their way. They said they don't care about age, sex, condition, nothing. So if these people have sworn an oath like that, do you think that they're going to care about some right that these Freemasons came up with to supposedly get away from them? You can never get away from the Jesuits because that's what it says in their oath. They will not get away from you. They will always hunt you down if you try to go against them. Any kingdom that has went against the Jesuits, did they stand? No. History said they fell.
Brother,
Now, then, like,
the Freemasons, the Freemasons, for whatever reasons, became their own sovereign thing, completely separate from the church. In fact, the amnesty that was against the church, particularly in France, was really heavy. Was really, really heavy. This is why Scottish Rite today has some elements that can be very not contradictory. What's the word? It's very what's the word? Sorry, man. English is my second language, but it could be very problematic because it can create a lot of not conspiracies. Man, I'm like lacking words right now, brother. Sorry, but the 30th degree is if you just Wikipedia the 30th degree, brother. A lot of it has been written down. I cannot divulge it because obviously I took an oath about it, but basically there's the reason why the Scottish Rite it's its own thing against the against established religions, and whereas the York Rite is completely different from the Scottish Rite.
well, this would be my last thing I'll say, and I'll let Chad get the floor because I'm pretty sure he has to say something. This is what the Order of the Jesuits say themselves, and this is from their book, The Black Pope. The Black Pope is the Black Jesuit. He's the general of the Jesuit order. He's the one who really runs things. The White Pope doesn't run anything. Now, it says this from the MF Cusack, if I'm saying that correctly, London Marshall and Co., 1896, page 76. There are still old ladies, male and female, about the country who will tell you with grim gravity that if you trace up Masonry through all its orders till you come to the grand tip-top head Mason of the world, you will discover that the dread individual and the chief of the Society of Jesus, which is the Jesuit order, are one and the same person. This is them themselves. So they don't have a problem admitting that at the end of the day, I run what is supposedly, you know, that you guys supposed to run. They control what goes on. They've already admitted that they control Protestantism. Protestantism is technically Catholic now. Every institution pushes Catholicism. So for like I said, for Freemasons to get on here, and like I said, you're an intelligent brother, Javon. You've already proven that. You've proven that you know information that a lot of these Freemasons don't know. And like I've said, the information that I'm showing you is telling you plain as day. They're telling you we run the show on this planet. And I've told you, Devon, you can look up celebrities who have been trained by Jesuits. Their PH, their personal handler, are Jesuits. So it's not like these people are hiding this. The information is out there. And they just
So
admit it from themselves.
So I would say this. Let me ask you a question. Man. I see you doing a lot of research, and that is good that you're choosing to research and try to learn. But do you know where Freemasonry actually came from?
I mean, you saying like where it originally started?
Where did do you know where it came from?
I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I've heard a lot of Masons say a lot of different events. Some people say Tower of Babel, some say Solomon's Temple, other people say Cometicism. I mean, I don't know
None of
which
that.
one it is because I hear different
It
answers.
didn't come from any of that. Freemasonry came from Stone Guild. Stone Guild. So I'm gonna try to take you back. Try to take you back using your imagination, right? So imagine years ago, before all these beautiful buildings and structures were built, right? You had men that knew how to build these temples, these buildings, these churches, these cathedrals, and all of those things, and all of those sorts. But men that met together, studied, and traded information on how he formed um, certain states of different buildings, um, cathedrals, and all of those. How did you build this? How did you make this building an oval and it's still standing? How did you make this building a square and it's still standing? Different things in that nature. Um, so they shared that, and they like a group of brothers, and they was all from different faiths, all from different religions, um, and they shared that with each other. So those are what we would call operative lodges, which was guilds. We study, we are speculative now. We as Freemasons, we're not operative. We're not actually out there building. Some of us are, but that's not what we're doing. We're not a religion. We didn't get our degrees or anything like that from different religions or anything like that. We just a bunch of men from different faiths that come together and could try to help each other improve themselves. I can use myself for example. Me, just a regular guy that's a Freemason. Before becoming a Freemason, I couldn't imagine myself in a room with different individuals like judges and police officers and people and that sort. So yeah, man, like a lot of that stuff you're reading, that's good that you're trying to learn it, but a lot of it, believe it or not, is really misinformation. We didn't get our stuff from religion. When it comes to churches in America, man, yes, we helped form those churches because the white chief didn't want black people or Native Americans learning how to read and things like that. So yes, we formed those churches and we formed those schools to teach our children and to teach our people, so people like you and I can walk freely today in today's society. A lot of those conspiracy theories that you hear about Mason Steve and all this other crap, that's stuff that comes from bogus organizations, people that portray themselves to be Freemasons, like the guy, John G. Jones, and things of that nature, because they don't know what legit Freemasons actually do. So they get online and they grab books and portray themselves as Freemasons, but that's not. That is not
how we carry ourselves. It's not what we do. We're regular, everyday individuals. There's no hierarchy above any of us. Every lord and grand lord is sovereign, which means we are our own people. Nobody runs us. There's no hierarchy over Freemasons, man, at all.
Sir, have you ever heard of this gentleman?
No, I have.
His name is Jan Baptiste Janssen, and he was the Jesuit. He was the head Jesuit from 1946 to 1964. And during his time, he was in control of these different orders: the Sovereign Military Order of Malta, Scottish Rite Shriner Freemasonry, the Order of the Illuminati, the Knights of Columbus, the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. So when people get to talking about who has their hand in the Ku Klux Klan, we should look no further than the Jesuits and then also Masonry, because most Ku Klux Klan members are Masons. That's how they were able to, get away from all those charges, of doing stuff.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Now that I agree with you on. Some of those, some back then, and not judging anybody, some back then were Freemasons. And if I could make a statement to the guy Todd in the comments, I don't serve two masters because we don't have masters in lodges. Because you hear the name worship a master doesn't mean we serve a master. We don't serve a master. That is just a title. I serve Jesus Christ. I am a Christian.
So, do you believe in the immortality of soul? The immortality of the soul?
I do. I believe in immortality. So
So, you just said you were a Christian and you believe the immortality of the
no,
soul.
I'm sorry. Bro. I'm saying, like I said, I'm working and trying to talk to you as well because I seen some of your stuff earlier. But I believe in reincarnation. I believe that Jesus came back and all of those things, bro. I read my Bible thoroughly. Do I
Okay,
know all the
well,
scriptures in the Bible? I do not. But yes, I am a Christian.
I will recommend you read some of these scriptures in the Bible, because in Ecclesiastes 12:7 it says, "Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was," because God formed Adam from the dirt. And it says, "And the spirit shall return unto God who gave it." But then also,
Amen. Amen.
and then in Ezekiel 18:4 it says, "The soul that sinneth, it shall unalive." Or even Job 14:10 it says, "But man dieth and wasteth away. Yea, man giveth up the ghost, and where is he?" Job 14:12 says, "Till the heavens be no more, they shall not awake nor be raised out of their sleep." So from what the Bible says, man doesn't reincarnate, nor is his soul immortal. His spirit goes back to God and his body goes back to dirt.
So what you
Because
think happened with Jesus when Jesus rose from the dead?
you said what, sir?
What do you think happened with Jesus when Jesus rose from the dead? You don't think he was reincarnated?
No, because Jesus told people that he was going to die and resurrect. And reincarnating is more so because they believe that you reincarnate. Some people believe you reincarnate into a tree, a different person, but you never come back as the same person. Jesus came back as the same person, so that wouldn't be reincarnation. That's just resurrection.
Okay.
But yes, and
Yeah,
then
Job is a good book. I love book. Job is actually one of my favorite chapters in the Bible.
no, I'm reading the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, and I'm in Second Kings right now. So I'm trying to make my way
Yeah,
towards that path.
yeah, that's real good. Job is actually my favorite story in the Bible.
But no, yeah,
If you
like I
just
said,
continue to keep your faith,
I don't try to attack Masons. I don't do this to make people hate Masons. And my thing is, are we saying we resurrect? But no, yeah, back to what I was saying. I don't. And my thing is, even when exposing, sometimes says the stuff he says. I mean, I can't really control what somebody else says. I can barely control what my brothers and siblings do. So I'm like, I'm dang sure no, I can't control what another grown man who I'm not related to says or does. But I try to tell them when I do talk to them. you shouldn't try to lump all people into one category. Me personally, like I said, I just believe that there is something more sinister going on. And if you pay close attention to the Bible and Revelation, the Bible tells us who the Antichrist is of Revelation. It's the Catholic Church. Because it says in Daniel that this beast, this little horn, is going to persecute God's people. The only institution that ever did that was the Catholic Church. They
Right.
they
I mean,
persecuted
I'll be
God's
honest. You're right
people
now.
and non-Christians. They persecuted Africans, Native Americans, many other different indigenous tribes or people across the planet. Even persecuted their own people if they didn't get in line. So I'm like, they're the only one that fulfills that. Joseph Stalin, he doesn't fulfill that because he's an atheist. I don't believe Masonry is the Antichrist. I don't believe Masonry runs the world because it's too much division within Masonry itself for them to, to run it. But I believe there are people in the high degrees who know certain stuff. I'm not saying you in particular, but there could be somebody else in your position that may know something that you don't. And that's all I'm getting at. Like, I don't like to lump everybody in one bucket because they can do the same thing with Christians, but not all Christians were participating in that type of activity during that time.
I respect your opinion, but what I was getting at is, and I'm asking respectfully, I respect your opinion and what you're trying to teach the community, but a lot of things that you trying to that you're saying, um, a lot of it has caused people to actually believe in those things and unalive men, grown men, Freemasons, hurt families, and a lot, and all that, man. That's what I was getting at when I was when I was in the comments listening to you, and I was reading what you had up. Um, I will say, yeah, the Catholic Church have done some evil things, um, but there are some Catholics that are Masons as well, that have looked into what the Catholic Church have done and not agreed with what they did. Um, and that's just what it is, man. You know, not everybody out here in this world are good people. Some people just put on a smile and lie to your face. Um, and there might be people that are what you would say high degrees that know things that I don't know. But those people don't run the world. Neither do they run the organization. A lot of, and I go back to what I said in the beginning, a lot of the conspiracy theories that are out there on the internet, they come from bogus, clandestine lodges like the person you spoke on, the John G. Jones, and things of that nature. Because John G. Jones, the man, was upset because he was expelled from a legit lodge. And he went and started doing those things, informing and lying to people. Your
What up,
Bible.
John
That's
G.
good that you
Jones?
honor your Bible, man, and continue to stay in your Bible. I encourage you to continue to stay in your Bible, continue to follow the footsteps of Jesus Christ. I also encourage you to maybe pick up the Quran and read it and read that a little bit and to further your study. Um, just on Christianity as well. You'll be amazed at the things that you will find in other religious scriptures and texts that will help you continue to be a better individual yourself. But yeah, definitely continue to study, man. But um, be mindful of some of the things that you're reading because some of it is misinformation. Not all of it is true. Is what people have wrote and put out there based off of these clandestine and bogus lodges. And we have historians in our legit lodges and grand lodges that have wrote books to debunk a lot of those conspiracy theories to help educate the community and things of that nature.
Okay, before you leave, Chad, because you said some stuff that I shown was misinformation. I'm gonna show you something that would be something you can't deny. I mean, the stuff that I shown, I feel like is undeniable in itself. But this man is David Rockefeller, and this is what he wrote in his memoir, in his book. For more than a century, ideological extremists, talking about people like me, at either end of the political spectrum, have seized upon well-publicized incidents such as my encounter with Castro to attack the Rockefeller family for the inordinate influence they claim we wield over American political and economic institutions. He says this. Some even believe we are part of a secret cabal working against the best interests of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalists and of conspiracy theory, stuff like me, right? With others around the world to build a more integrated global political and economic structure, one world, if you will. If that's the charge, what does this man say in his memoir on page 405? I stand guilty and I am proud. So, like I said, and maybe you might say that David Rockefeller is not a Freemason. But the thing is, I've already shown Masons this. These people have more credibility than me and you or anyone else in this panel will ever have. So for me or you to try to say this man is not credible is just honestly, it falls short to the ground because this man name is.
He's not a Mason, but I will say the things he have done in this world, he have done has helped shape America and this world tremendously.
Okay.
I don't know him. I don't know him personally. I've read up on him a few times, whatnot. But some of the things that he have done in this world have shaped America, man.
Okay, well, this man right here, he is a Mason because he's a Rosicrucian, and his name is R. Swineborn Clymer, and he wrote in his book Ancient Mystic Oriental Masonry on page 24. Mystic Masonry is not only the key to the religion taught to all men in all ages from the very beginning of conscious life up to the present, but it holds the keys to these religions and is in fact the very repository of religion itself. It has for its object the uniting of mankind into a universal brotherhood. Now remember, I've already talked to you about Revelation prophecy that the beast will unite the whole world together. Now, didn't this man say the same thing that David Rockefeller just said? Because he said that he's trying to build a global civilization. This man Swineborn says the same thing, but not even just him. I can show you another author as well.
Can I ask you a question though? What's wrong with that?
What's building
what's wrong with everybody in this world getting on one accord together?
I'm happy you said that, sir. Because the last time
I'm just asking. I'm asking a question, and then I make a statement.
No, I hear you. The last time that happened, sir, that happened at the Tower of Babel. And did the God of the Bible like that? Did the God of the Bible like when the world came together? Because the last time I checked what the Bible says, last time the world got together and united together as a whole, they united against God and his people. And then destroyed
God's people. That's not.
That's the Bible, Chad.
They didn't unite in Babylon. They did not.
No, I said at the Tower of Babel, sir. At the Tower of Babel, it does say the whole world united together because it says that God told them disperse around the world and multiply it. They didn't do that. They said we're going to stay right here and we're going to build this tower just in case you flood the earth again. That's the world uniting against God. That's why God separated the nations and confused the language. So for you to say that that's not true, that's speaking against the Bible.
When you get a chance, pick up the Quran, check the Quran out. And when you read the Quran, go back in the Bible and read some things as well, and you're gonna be like, damn.
But you do know that the Quran is a Gnostic book. Islam comes from Gnosticism, and Manly P. Hall already proved that. Manly P. Hall said Muhammad definitely got his influence from Gnosticism and the ancient pagan mysteries. And he writes in one of his books, there are many avenues that Muhammad could have went to get that information, because even the belief about Jesus in Islam is Gnosticism. Gnosticism was around before Islam, 600-700 years before Islam, and the Gnostics taught that it was Simon who was made to appear as Jesus. That's exactly from Islam. So, and who gave rise first to the? You can't. The second can't give rise to the first.
Christian to Christian, man to man, listen. Did you know that around those times there was actually more than one Jesus in Jerusalem?
A lot of people say that. A lot of people say it was
No,
Barnabas
I'm
and
dead for real.
Elias.
So yeah, there's a book called it's called ah the lost gospel. Go find if you get it when you get a chance. Find the lost gospel and read the lost gospel. Um, and just check that out. And then when you read the lost gospel, research for yourself some of the information in the lost gospel. I
You
found the book, The Lost Gospels, when I was trying to further my education and on Christianity and continue to get closer to God myself.
Sir,
So that's how I ran into the Lost Gospel book.
I will recommend that you do not pick up the Lost Gospels because Billy Carson just debated Wes Huff about the Lost Gospels, those Gnostic Gospels, and it was already proven by theologians and scholars that those Gospels are inaccurate with the canonical scriptures. Like in the Gospel of Barnabas, it says that Jesus went to Mount Sinai, then he went to the Jordan River, and then he went to another place. The Jordan River from Mount Sinai is a week's trip. The Bible never mentions Jesus going to Mount Sinai. So you see, it's that
Man, the thing is,
geographical.
bro,
But that's the thing. That's
do you
that.
know how much stuff is not in the Bible?
But
You,
you're trying to say that that's taken out of the Bible. But what I'm telling you is, scholars and everyone's saying that's not incorrect because Jesus never went a week's trip to Mount Sinai. It has never been said in any of the Gospels. They have they have 23,000 gospels, and none of those say that. Only the lost supposed gospels.
again, there are a lot of things that was taken out of the Bible. And that's what made me, like I say, again, further my education because what made me really go deeper into Christianity um, is because let me go back. I'm gonna take you back. I give you a story about me. Um, I was baptized when I was a kid. Didn't know what I was doing at all. But when I became an adult, and I've been going to church all my life, but when I became an adult, like I say, I wanted to further my education on Christianity. As far as how did it start, how did it get its name, and all those different things that were really, what really sparked my interest was most of us, down to all of us in America, what version do we have when it comes to the Bible? King James version, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So I was like, why is it called the King James version? Why is it called, King James version? So I wanted to further my education. When I found out there was other books, other stories that would take out the Bible, I wanted to understand why. I wanted to understand why there was an Old Testament and a New Testament. So I continued to study and further my education. And yeah, so I continue to further my education. I see that you're doing the same, and that is good. Continue to further your education on the religion that you study and practice. That is real good. But don't you got to go outside the book sometimes. It seems like you are a free thinker, and that is good. Um, but I would say further your education into the Bible. Find out why it is called the King James version. Who was King James? Why did he make it the King James version? Why was it given to the West Christians and all of those things? Because believe it or not, um, the Christianity that we practice in America, that's not the Christianity that they practice over in the East and Africa and places like that who are Christians. I have people that attend Christian churches over in South Africa um, who have gave you information as well on the things that they have learned in those churches. And that's what makes humanity so beautiful. When I ask you the question, why is it a bad thing if all of humanity came together? I just want to know your answer on it. But I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's actually a good thing if humanity came together, because at the end of the day, we are all in this together. That's why the Bible tells you, take care of thy neighbor.
So,
Because, but
so my question would be this, chat: if the world united together and they did the same, because the Bible says that in Ecclesiastes, there's nothing new under the sun. What has been happening in old times will happen during our time. So, if they made the same mistake at the Tower of Babel with defying God and uniting against Him, what makes you think it won't happen a second time? Especially considering the fact that the God of the Bible says our enemy, the evil one, who's the real enemy, he is rest. He doesn't rest. He's day and night trying to unite the world against God. So what makes you think he won't unite the world against God again a second time? And it just
you're
went
going to
before
always
God.
have those idiots out there that's going to go against God, period.
You said
That's
there
just
aren't
what it
people.
is. You're going to always have those idiots that going to go against the Most High, that's going to go against God. And they got to deal with that when they're called to judgment. That's something that they're going to have to deal with at the end of the day, you know. And I'm not saying to unite and go against God. I'm saying unite as mankind, you know. When you take Jerusalem, for example, Jerusalem was so people were looking at Jerusalem so much back then because Jerusalem was a place where people of different faiths could come, live, eat, help each other out, and at the same time practice their religion. You had Muslims living with Christians and Christians living amongst Muslims or Muslims. You know, you had that, and you still have some of that to this day. Um, and when you look at the story of or if you go deep, and when you talk about the Knights Templars were protectors of those people trying to make it through Jerusalem. Because you had pagans and stuff that was unaliving people as they traveled down those roads trying to make it for freedom. So they protected those people, and they had plenty of money to get those people to places they wanted to go. During that time, I don't remember who the Pope was. He was upset that the Knights Templars had more influence than he did because he wanted to take advantage of the people. So he ordered for the Knights Templars to be executed because of jealousy.
Well, you know, history says something else, though.
I really just gave you history. I really just gave you history.
But
I just gave you exactly what it was.
well, this is another source though, and it says the King of France, and this is the King of France who it was. Philippe le Bel had all the Templars in France arrested on October 13th, Friday the 13th, 1307, and sentenced them to be unalived. And it says this: the charges that were brought against them were this. The ceremony of initiation into the order was accompanied by insults to the cross, the denial of Christ, and gross obscenities, the adoration of an idol which was said to be the image of the true God, Baphomet, that they worship. The third one was the commission of the words and consecration at Mass, the right that the lay chiefs arrogated to themselves and of giving absolution and the authorization of unnatural vice. So basically, they committed sodomy. Same thing that was going on in the Sodom and Gomorrah.
The Knights Templar were a tax-exempt organization and received donations from crusading pilgrims in exchange for protection to and from Jerusalem. Because its membership remained dominated by the nobility, the Knights Templar were granted many favors by European rulers. Through gifts of land and money, the Knights Templar became extremely wealthy and powerful. The Knights Templar degenerated to the point where they practiced idolatry, sex rituals, and worshipped Satan in the form of the Baphomet. In fact, sodomy became a rite of initiation into the order. Unfortunately, those practices are being carried on today.
And if Washington doesn't have enough to talk about these days, the Washington Times reported today that unidentified White House aides in the Carter, Reagan, and Bush administrations now are being investigated for using the services of a call boy ring. The paper reports that 2 of the male prostitutes were given a late-night tour of the White House last year. The White House press secretary, Marlin Fitzwater, said he knew nothing of this investigation. NBC's Lisa Myers reports her sources in the U.S. Attorney's Office say the investigation is not focusing on prostitution, but on fraud involving the use of credit cards to pay for the callboy services.
And 6-4, that is definitely where Friday the 13th comes from. So when Nicki Minaj want to say, guess who's playing Jason? Yes, they're talking about the Templars.
So Friday the 13th is a huge date because the lead commander of the Knights Templars, the last commander of the Knights Templars, was executed on Friday the 13th. The Knights Templars was warriors of Christianity. They was Christ warriors. So yeah, you had all these people at the time, that was Christians and trying to live upright. But at the same time, you had people unenlivened Christians, and there was nobody protecting Christians to the Knights Templar thing. Now, I'm not, I'm not a Knights Templar. I know the history because I know of the Knights Templars. I know the research I have studied when it came to the Knights Templar. I implore you, if you haven't watched this, there's a movie called The Kingdom of Heaven. Check out The Kingdom of Heaven when you get a chance, and just watch it all the way through, and you'll be amazed at some of the stuff that you see and the story that it tells. The story that it tells,
Uh,
you're gonna know the story.
are you going to
You
talk?
know the
Are you
story
talking
already.
about
I
the
know you
dude
know the
with the
story.
King Baldwin or something?
I believe that's what it is. But
And with
the
the
movie is
Islamic
called The
people
Kingdom
too,
of
right?
Heaven. Huh?
Don't it have like a Islamic people he's battling for like a certain
Yeah.
territory?
Hmm.
Yeah, I seen clips of it, like edits, but I didn't see the whole movie. And you
Yeah.
said it's
Check the
called
movie
what?
out, man. I think you would enjoy that movie.
You said it's called King of Heaven,
Kingdom of Heaven.
Kingdom
Kingdom
of
of
Heaven.
Heaven. Yeah. I think you would enjoy that movie if you when you watch it though.
I'll take a look at it. Do you know how the Crusades started, though?
You can educate me. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Well, a lot of people talk about, you just say, there weren't Christians to defend them, but originally the Catholic Church was trying to take over Jerusalem and the Holy City. And this is a conspiracy theory. Some people say it's speculation. I say it's not. But the Catholic Church tried to take over the Holy City. That's history. But since there was Christians and Jews who fought them and went against it, because obviously Jews are not giving up Jerusalem without a fight. They've already proven that, even in 70 AD when they went against the Romans. But they tried to go against the Catholic Church. They were successfully able to fend off the Catholic Church. And then after the Catholic Church tried to take over Jerusalem, coincidentally, you have this Islamic society that pops up and they successfully overtake Jerusalem. And my thing is, there are many similarities between Islam and Catholicism. You guys pray the rosary, the beads, the same prayer positions. You guys have to do there's certain rites, rituals, and things that happen within Islam and then also Catholicism. Then also Islam, they venerate Mary the same way Catholicism does, because they believe in the Immaculate Conception. But they believe in the Immaculate Conception of Mary, not just Jesus. They believe Mary was conceived immaculately. But the point I'm getting at is the conspiracy theory is that Catholicism created Islam to overtake Jerusalem. And when Islam did overtake Jerusalem successfully, they didn't give up Jerusalem. They kept it to themselves. And then that's how you have Islam and okay. And that's how you have Palestine. I mean, that's how you have a lot of Jews over there fighting with the Muslims and everything over the territory. And like I said, if you really look at the similarities between Islam and Catholicism, you can really make a point that that's not a theory. But like I said, I'll just say that's a theory for now. I wouldn't say that's truth.
Hey, to add on to what you're saying about the war, the Muslims, that during that war, that the leader of the Muslims, Muhammad, he actually walked down when he spoke with the other side and took a Christian Bible and prayed on the Bible, and then he won that war.
No, I've never heard of that, to be honest.
Yeah, Yep. He went down. He prayed on the Bible, and then he won the war. But what he was trying to symbolize in them was that the same teaching that they're learning as Muslims is the same teaching that we're learning as Christians. It's just some Christians take things out of context and they would say, "Oh, Jesus is God," and Jesus is not God. Jesus was a prophet, just like Muhammad was a prophet. You had plenty of prophets, and the reason being is because God speaks through us to people through us. So you had plenty of prophets. When it comes to Moses, do you believe in the story of Moses?
Yes, I do.
So did you know that Moses went to Egypt and he studied at the mystery school over there in Egypt?
Yes, I know that.
Okay. Did you know that Jesus himself, and I'm not talking Freemason, that was considered a Mason?
Wait, were you
Did you
finished?
know that, yes, Jesus himself was considered a Mason because he was a carpenter?
Yes, I hear people say that, but it
Yeah.
wasn't
So
speculative, or I wouldn't.
it was operative. So what my reason for saying that about Jesus, Moses, and all of those people, those great men who walked this earth and had such a huge impact on all of us, and also helped shape the world as well. And when you were not even gonna say that, I'm gonna use myself for example. I am a Freemason, and I have been a Christian all my life, but it has been what I have learned as a Freemason and have made me closer to my religion. And you can go online and read those books and all of those things and read as much as you want, but you would never gain a clear understanding